Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping video. So this is for October 19th through the 26th, and I am going to do an 8-day week on this spread because the last plan with me I did 6 days. So I did that because I wanted to use this pumpkin patch corn maze kit from Cinderella Paper. I also wanted to use the kit that was in my last video as well, Cultura from Cafe with Anna. So this is how I compromised and fit all of these kits in. You'll see me do this like for 2 more weeks as well for Halloween as well as Dia de los Muertos because I wanted to use kits for both of those holidays. So the week after this, I'm going to do another 6-day week. And then the week after that, I'll do another 8-day week. And then I've actually already laid down the week after that. I was waiting on a kit for Dia de los Muertos. So Halloween's filmed at this point and the week of Veterans Day is filmed at this point, but I have to go back and do the week in between those two. So we're just catching up, but honestly, that's kind of a good problem to have. I know like November, I pretty much just put up 1 video a week. That's still better than I was doing this time last year with keeping up with videos, so I'm not too mad about it. And I'm not gonna have to catch up that much. It's funny, I'm like almost up to date in my memory keeping planner as far as like having stickers down. It's just editing the videos that is a little bit of a trouble spot for me right now. So yeah, I think this was my first time doing an 8-day week. So basically what you do if you don't know, you just don't have a sidebar and you just use the sidebar column as another day. So that day in the left-hand sidebar is going to be Sunday the 19th. I still put in habit trackers because I didn't have extra bottom washi in order to carry that over into the sidebar. The only thing really that's different here is that, well, first of all, I color blocked, so I used up pretty much all the glitter headers. And then I didn't do my normal dinners sidebar tracker, which the routine person in me misses that just a little bit, but it's just for a week or two that we're not recording all of our dinners. I don't know if there was anything like too stand out-ish that we really ate this week anyway. I guess I can look in my kind of rough draft planner. That's just where I write down what we did and then I look back at it later. Let's see, did we have anything cool for dinner? No, mostly a lot of our same staples. Got chicken teriyaki on Friday at a place where we normally go for sushi, but we try not to eat sushi more than like once a month just because of all the issues with the fish in the ocean. You can go look that up and fact check it, but it's something we're a little concerned about, but we love sushi, so we treat ourselves like once a month. So, but some of our favorite restaurants in town are the Japanese restaurants, and they do other good food as well, like cooked food. So, yeah. And then my husband made japchae on Sunday, I think, which is like a Korean noodle dish. So a little bit out of the ordinary, but for the most part, we just stick to our regular dinners for the week. So, I didn't end up getting apple cider donuts this year. We didn't go to Apple Hill this week. We went to a pumpkin patch and a corn maze in Woodland. But even when we did end up going to Apple Hill in November, I ended up getting an apple turnover instead of an apple cider donut, which the turnover was good. It lasted me like 2 days, honestly, because it was huge. And my husband got this giant apple strudel. But anyway, enough about that. That's not the week we are talking about. What happened this week? I finally kind of stopped my allergy medication because it seemed like my seasonal allergies were under control. Canvas was out pretty much all day on Monday, which didn't end up affecting me that much. I honestly entirely forgot it happened until like 2 weeks later when I was watching Tony Renee Plans' video and she mentioned it because she also works at a school. I had students like running into my classroom before class being like, "Is class canceled today?" I'm like, no, I have access to all the files that we need outside of Canvas. I like to joke with some of my students sometimes and be like, I could teach this class without any sort of technology. Like I have to use technology both to be modern and also for accessibility reasons, but like it's a writing class. I know what I'm talking about at this point. So yeah, luckily I had brought my laptop to campus that day because then I could just email myself the files originally from my computer. I don't often, my cats are doing WWE in the background. Hopefully you can't hear that. And hopefully they don't make each other too mad. But what was I talking about? Something with Canvas. Yeah, like I know the material at this point, and I don't always love carrying my laptop around for because it's heavy and security reasons and all of that. But I have been carrying my laptop around a lot more this semester because it just makes things easier, and also because I work at multiple colleges, like it just makes it easier to log into everything that way if I'm on the computer that I use at home. So yeah, it's funny. Like students will be like, "Is class canceled because Canvas is down?" I'm like, "I will extend deadlines on anything due today, but like we can still have an in-person class." The biggest difficulty that it posed for me was that my online class had a peer review this day, so I just extended the deadline for it. Like it was fine. We lived. But yeah, I was out for like I think like 16 hours from like midnight the night before. Although I'm a journalist, so AP style says midnight is the first minute of the day. So technically 12 a.m. Monday until like 4 p.m. Monday it came back finally. That's all Pacific time. So yeah, the other thing was I think other professors and I were joking about this. We're like, "Oh darn, we can't grade anything today." Oh, so sad. But like Mondays are a big class time day for me anyway, so I don't really get a lot of grading done. So yeah. But yeah, I can teach the class without Canvas. Sorry to my students for that. But it'd be one thing if there was like an actual power outage or something, then yeah, like and actually even then I could probably still teach the class because most of the rooms I teach in have giant windows, so like we have natural light. Anyway, aren't you glad you know all this now? But yeah, for a English writing class, it's pretty easy to make adaptations. I do a mix of like digital and analog stuff because honestly, everyone needs to know how to do a little bit of everything. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so Sunday the 19th, the first thing I'm going to mark is financial stuff that I had to take care of, and then we went to the pumpkin patch. So I'm going to mark that with a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And then I marked that it was my husband's first corn maze. It was kind of like a little baby corn maze. Like the corn was not that old at this point. It was so first of all, every corn maze I've ever been to in California, the corn is still very green, even at this point in the season. Obviously with our seasons we can grow stuff later into the fall season, and then pretty much as soon as the like holiday season ends they mow it down and like sell it because like obviously corn is like a huge cash crop in California. So didn't really look like this corn maze that you see here in the art. It was not like dead or anything, and it was like little baby corn. Like they weren't very tall yet and they were still flowering at this point. Like they hadn't actually grown the corn, but it was my husband's first corn maze. He's very good at it. He knows the tricks. So if you ever feel like you're going to get lost in a corn maze, I guess my husband's a good person to go to for that. So I used this little couple walking in the park from Sweet Davis Paper. There were a lot of food trucks at this particular pumpkin patch, so we got some sorbets. So I got a mango sorbet. It was like really, really good. And then we went through the pumpkin patch and it was vast. Where I live right now is very flat versus where I lived in Orange County. It was pretty hilly. So here the pumpkin patches like stretch on for a very long amount of time, but it's very flat and easy to navigate. Then we came home and watched Stranger Things. So that icon is from Carly Plans. I was using the Scoops Ahoy related stuff this week because it both matched the kit, but then also that was the season we were on, was season 3. And then I was watching Everybody's Live on Netflix, so that bat sticker is from Sweet Davis Paper. And then I played with Clover, so that little cat icon's from Planet Hannah. And then my 2 habit trackers this week in the sidebar were for Flonase and for flossing. Monday, I'm going to mark the Canvas outage with this panicking character from Sweet Davis Paper, even though I really wasn't panicking. The only problem was that for some reason, I'm supposed to be able to email students through like our separate portal from Canvas. Like we have a separate thing where I have their actual email addresses. And a bunch of people were like, "I didn't get an email from you." I'm like, that's a little concerning that I have no way to get in touch with you. But then I asked them to like double check their email, and some of them were like, "Oh yeah, actually I did get it." I'm like, okay, please double check your email before telling me these things. So yeah, I do have ways to contact students and be like, "Everybody chill. It's fine. We're going to figure it out." Nothing important is due today. It's not finals week, although I do feel like Canvas always goes down either at the beginning of the semester, during finals week, or at this point in the semester where it's like midterms. It's a conspiracy. No, it's not. Anyway, but it tends to fail when we all need it most, which is why we should not 100% rely on technology. I'll leave that at that. Taught my classes and graded, so that's from Sweet It Was Paper and Beneva Creations. I was grading on paper, my like in-class assignments that I have them do because I couldn't do anything on Canvas. And then I came home and took a nap. And then I went and taught my night classes. At that point, Canvas was back up, so we were fully back in business the normal way, but I had everything ready to go regardless. And then I think one of those classes, oh, they were doing peer review in my night class as well. And I had them do it through Canvas, but I gave them like an extra day to complete it because it had been down for so much of the day. So while they were doing peer review, I got a little bit of grading in, my Canvas grading anyway. Tuesday was Diwali, so I marked that with a candle where it wasn't like a specific Diwali candle, but I don't burn candles personally. My husband and I don't really care for fake fragrances anyway. And then we have cats and candles is just not a good combination in a house. So we just don't bother with them. But so I used this candle. I cut off the script. I think it said like burn a candle or something. And then I had a Diwali script from a Michael sticker book. And then Evie had a little upset tummy this day. Don't really know why, but she did. So I marked that with a Plan a Hannah icon. I did yoga and I'm like totally out of yoga stickers and any sort of stickers that would match this kit for working out. So I just used a little pumpkin from Corks and Corks Co. because it was fun and seasonal. And then a yoga script from Sweet It Was Paper. I had therapy. I don't really have any relevant stickers for that either right now. So I just used this mug from Corks and Corks Co. It's from the fall. Both of those are from the fall sampler sheet. And Corks and Corks Co. is definitely having a Black Friday sale. So check that out if you want some cute hand-drawn doodles. I had office hours and did some grading, and then I had a dentist appointment this day. I love my current dentist. She's so sweet. And I was in and out of there so quickly. Like the hygienist wasted no time cleaning my teeth, and I had x-rays too. And I was in and out of there in like, I swear, 45 minutes. So that was really nice. And everything's looking good, but I think I was just genetically blessed with good teeth. So at least for now, I am okay. But yeah, the hygienist was like, keep doing what you're doing. And I'm like, flossing a couple times a week? Okay, sure. Like I eat and drink all the things you're really not supposed to. At least that's what the dentist says. Like they hate coffee, they hate candy, like, but I eat all that stuff because I get one life on this planet. So I'm going to be happy while I'm here, I think. Anyway, luckily I can get away with it for now. And then I watched Last Week Tonight and Josh Johnson on YouTube. So I just had this movie Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. Wednesday, I went and taught my classes again. I graded, I lesson planned, all the things. I was so over it this day. So I have this angry cat from Sweet It Was Paper. Very Wednesday. And then I went and taught my night classes and felt a little bit better. So that's from Sweet It Was Paper. I think I'm going to address, oh yeah, I had to switch which order or which way that was facing. The next one's going to be from Beneva Creations, and then I have a laptop from Sweet It Was Paper, the cats from Sweet It Was Paper, and so is the little presentation doodle person. That's also from Sweet It Was Paper. Yeah, October and November are really rough at my job. It's just a lot going on all the time. Can't change anything about it. Can only, keep moving forward. Thursday, I slept in because I could and I needed it. So I'm going to mark that with an icon from Sweet It Was Paper. Then I got up and did laundry. So I have a laundry hamper from Beneva Creations. And eventually I'm going to pull in a script from Leonard Designs that I had from a freebie. Did more yoga. So I'm going to use the same combination of the pumpkin from Corks and Corks Co. and the script from Sweet It Was Paper. This was just a lesson planning and grading day, a very stock standard Thursday. By the way, the date covers are from a Michael sticker book and the date dots are from an old Cinderella paper kit. I forgot to mention that. And I had to bring in those date dots, what am I trying to say? Date covers, sorry, because I whited out, obviously, the original days and then needed to add a day on Sunday on the sidebar. So that's why I brought in the date covers as well as the date dots. So for lesson planning and grading, I have this other icon from Sweet It Was Paper. And then one of the campuses that I work at had a lockdown this day because someone was running from the police. So I wasn't on campus, thank God. So that's great. But I got this like really alarming text message and phone call about like locking the doors and everything. And I'm like, oh God, this is my reality. Yeah, but everything was fine. Nobody got hurt. Just a little scary for a Thursday. And then I watched Abbott Elementary, and I think this was when they had the episode about them going to the Phillies game, which I found quite funny. I don't know, this season isn't as funny as the last few, to me at least, but there's some fun episodes in there. Friday, I marked that I was really tired with a script from Leonard Designs and an icon from Sweet Ava's Paper. My husband was working from home this day. I had a medical appointment, so I'm going to mark that with an icon from Sweet Ava's Paper. And then I rewarded myself for going to that by getting McDonald's, and they had the boo buckets. So I got a boo bucket. It was really cute. So this Happy Meal is from Bella Planella. And then during our lunch break, my husband and I went to a record store. So I have a record from Corks and Corks Co. And then stock standard Friday, just a bunch of grading. So I'm going to mark that with another Sweet Ava's Paper cat on the laptop. And then we went out to one of our favorite Japanese restaurants in town. And I don't think we got sushi, but we got other food, and that was good as well. Excuse me. And then watched the new episode of Great British Bake Off. So I have this little pie from Once More with Love, and watched more Stranger Things. So I have a little ice cream sundae from Carly Plants because that was from the season 3 sheet for Stranger Things. I think on her website, I don't know if she sells that one anymore. So, but if you are looking for it, it's definitely not called Stranger Things. It's called like Friends Don't Lie or something like that. But I have no idea if she ever brought those back. Why is that truck so loud? I'm sorry. I have no idea if she brought those back after the first time that she had them in the shop, but you can go and check. I do find it tricky to navigate some people's shop websites lately, especially if they're on Shopify. Like sometimes the search function on Shopify really does not work well. So if they're an icon shop or if they're a foil shop especially, I think that's part of the reason I really don't buy underlays anymore, because it's really overwhelming to shop for them, in my opinion. There's just too many options, and I hate that for me, but I just don't have the time to like figure out the pattern that matches the kit, figure out the color. I also don't have the money to use foil every single week. Like I could find the money if I really wanted to, but I don't know. Let me know how you navigate people's Shopify sites when like they have a lot of products, like a lot of products. It's a little overwhelming. So I'll take any tips that you have. Saturday morning, I marked that Clover rubbed up against my legs, but she does not do very much anymore because she's a sassy punk teenager. So I wanted to mark that with an icon from Planet Hannah. I marked Cuddling Evie because she is my cuddle cat, with an icon from Bunny Bear Plans. And then we went to a little harvest festival arranged by an organization that my husband's working with for work. So he put on his Mandalorian costume, found some problems with it because he made it himself. And then I wore my Argyle from Stranger Things costume. We didn't stick around for very long, but he just wanted to say hi to people and kind of show off his costume a little bit. So I marked that with a Halloween icon from Planet Hannah. I was doing some hotel shopping for our upcoming vacation, so that's from Beneva Creations. I took vitamins, which is normally something I would mark on a habit tracker, but because I only remembered to do it one day this week, I marked it here instead. And then I filmed some videos, so I have a fall planning icon from Sweet Ava's Paper, and I was watching comedian Hannah Gadsby this night, just rewatching some of their work on Netflix. Sunday, I marked voting in the special election, so completing my ballot. So I have a vote sticker from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. My husband and I had our monthly financial chat, so that couple is going to be from Beneva Creations. I was PMSing because, life. So I have a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. to mark that. I did some more filming, so I have another Sweet Ava's Paper cat planning for that. And then we got some rain this day, so that was exciting. And I have this little cute cat with an umbrella from Sweet Ava's Paper. And then my husband decided to carve his pumpkin. And this year so a lot of times we don't put the pumpkins outside. This year we kept the little pumpkins inside, the ones we got at the pumpkin patch. And then the big ones went outside. And honestly, before my husband even carved his pumpkin, I decided I didn't want to carve mine. The squirrels in our neighborhood have been taking little nibbles out of them. So they started with his, and so it was like, okay, well, let's definitely carve yours. And then, not this day, I wrote in on here because I didn't know what else to write in, that the squirrel eventually stole the top to the pumpkin, so the part that you cut out in order to scoop out the insides. They didn't do that until next week, but they have been enjoying our pumpkins, which I guess is good from an ecological standpoint. Uh, but they really did a number on his, and then it got warm as well right before Halloween, so like his jack-o'-lantern did not make it to Halloween, sadly. And then mine was fine through Halloween, but now it's still out front because we keep our pumpkins out until Thanksgiving at least. And they've started taking a big bite out of the side of mine. I'm like, guys, why? But they're like, it's food. And I'm like, I didn't realize you guys were big enough and strong enough to like take a whole massive chunk out of the side of a giant pumpkin. That's hilarious. So anyway, there's that. And then I marked my husband making japchae with chopsticks from Wonton in a Million. So that is my 8-day week. I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. I hope you all are doing well, and I'll talk to you next time.